Welcome back to the Why So Serious podcast. I'm your host, Brandon. We got Devin, we got Mike, the whole crew. What's going on, fellas?
Hey, Brandon. Devin.
Mike is sick, so he sounds like shit. But he really wanted to talk about this episode because it was a lot.
Yeah, I'm not missing this one. Brandon gave me the opportunity for an out, but I was like, no.
This was a lot in a good way. Somebody needs to tell me what the fuck Bo DeMaio did. I need to know. And it better be a good goddamn reason that Disney fired his ass. And not because he's taking shirtless pics on OnlyFans. That can't be the reason why they fired him. Because this shit good. What'd you think, Devin?
By far the best episode. And for everybody that thought they were like not really taking this shit serious, this put everybody on notice on how good this show can be. And just how great these like the content and the canon of X-Men is, of all the comic books. It was just so much, man. It just felt like you were watching a regular live action show. It was so gripping and telling. It had a whole bunch of turns, relationship dynamics, character development. It had so much. By far my favorite episode.
Yeah, before we get going with Mike, I forgot to do the whole thing. We are streaming live on YouTube, on Facebook, on Twitter, wherever you're watching it. Like the stream, leave us comments. We can see the chat, so if you want to interact, say something in the chat. We'll bring it up in the show because this episode had a lot going on and a lot that's to come that I can't wait to talk. For those of you who read the comic books, you know about Grant Morrison. Oh yeah, that's coming. He's coming. Devin and Mike don't know, but I'll tell them about that. If you're watching on YouTube, you can also subscribe. That helps us out. If you're listening to us on the traditional podcast feed, like we've been doing for years, please leave us a review. If it's a 5-star review, we'll read it on the show on Spotify or Apple Podcasts. Now that I got all the good stuff out the way, Mike, what did you think about this episode?
I agree with Devin. It was the best episode so far. I don't even know what else to say about it. I knew, I don't want to get ahead of myself, but I knew that the thing that happens in the comics. I never read it, but I knew it happened. Mm-hmm. I just didn't think it would happen right now.
Episode 5.
Yeah, it was pretty awesome. Makes me want to read the book.
Yeah. So what happened? I mean, we'll get to it, but and I actually have some screenshots to show you all from the book. They're really putting the context what's happening, because there's someone coming. I'm pretty confident there's someone coming because there's someone behind all this shit in the comic books.
It has to be, because there's no reason Cable popped up and was telling people, trying to warn people, and then still went back. But we got the reveal that Myra knows Cable is okay. Let's talk about some of the cameos before we jump into like the actual story. We got Nightcrawler, we got Dazzler. Who else did we see? Emma Frost.
There was a million cameos.
Yeah.
Sebastian Shaw, Banshee, Multiple Man,
Hellfire Club. Did you say that? Yeah.
Dazzler.
Hey, what is that? What does that Morlock do? The alien-looking Morlock, the green one. What does he do? What
his name is Leech.
Okay.
And his power is he takes away your powers.
He just takes them away, or like you can't use them, or he can use them.
No, he can't use them. He just takes them from you.
Okay. So time out. And this also, is Rogue able to use other people's powers after she absorbs them?
Yes. You watched the original show?
No. I was just saying because
the whole reason she got powers is because she took them from Carol Danvers.
Right. I was just making sure.
Rogue couldn't fly, couldn't do none of that shit, didn't have super strength. Her only mutant power was she could take someone else's life energy. But if she touches another person with powers, she can take their powers. And so she rolled up on Carol Danvers when she was with Mystique. And Mystique basically told her she was a bad person, made her go fight Carol Danvers. She touched Carol Danvers, but she held on for too long. So she took all of her powers permanently and took her memories. So for a while, Carol didn't know who the fuck she was because Rogue had all her memories. This is in a comic book. Actually, they did it in the animated series too, but in the comic, she had all fucking memories. So that's why Rogue can fly and has super strength and all this stuff, like Miss Marvel, Captain Marvel, because she took that shit from her. And then in the comic books, Carol went and eventually joined the X-Men and became binary. It's the whole thing. But yeah, that's Rogue can take people's shit and use it. But it runs out. If she don't touch you for a long time, that shit runs out. But if she hold on to you forever, if you're a regular person, you finna be dead.
Dead, yeah.
And if you a powered person, you finna not have your powers. Yeah, no, I love this shit. I knew this was coming when I saw the goddamn Watcher in the sky. Because
hold on, what episode did you see that?
This episode.
Oh, okay.
They showed the sky over Genosha, and the Watcher's face was there. And the Watcher only shows up for important events in history. That's it. That's the only reason he shows up. And when I saw the Watcher there, I said, "Oh, they doing it. They are doing Genosha," and they did Genosha. But yeah, we'll get to that and what that means and who's coming and who that is that I think is coming. That's the big bad, because they made you think that Sinister's the big bad.
No, yeah.
This person's much worse than Sinister.
So, okay, in their storytelling and the plot lines, do you think that we're gonna jump around? Because
Jump around
you know,
what,
still,
like timeline?
Just no, not timeline wise, but just in the story, because we still have Storm's story to tell. So like,
I think it's all going to tie in.
Yeah, okay.
Because they're not getting out of this without Storm. I can tell you this right now.
Okay.
But everything, so much is about to change because of what's happening here. So much is about to change. So the show kicks off with basically, Gambit did the previously on X-Men. So I heard that, I was like, oh, Gambit about to go through it. He about to go through it. And they basically, Trish Tilby, who's the interviewer for like a Dateline 2020 type show, is basically doing an expose on mutants and the X-Men. By the way, for those of you who don't know, in the comic books, she is Hank McCoy's girlfriend.
I mean, I seen a little,
which is why Hank was trying to get all pretty and fine for her, because he was feeling that. And I still say fuck Hank McCoy every day. I don't fuck with him at all.
Damn,
but
man.
Yeah, that was his girl in the comic book, you know. And so he's trying to get all good for her. She's basically interviewing everybody, having to sit down. Beast is talking to her, and then
wait a minute. Can we talk about one thing really quick? In
Go
all the Sunspot, he doesn't want his parents or anyone to know that he has mutant powers and that he's there, but he's in the B-roll.
Yeah.
Of the interviewers.
Well, we don't know if that's in the B-roll or just the B-roll of the show.
It looked like it was in the B-roll. It was like that grainy. It definitely was in the B-roll.
Maybe it was. Why are you jumping ahead, Mike?
That was the very, very beginning.
Yeah, it's the beginning.
Very beginning. It was like the first scene.
Not the first scene, but when she's laying out the story of the X-Men.
Yeah.
They talking. Then they talking to Cyclops. He's talking about his history. She says, "Oh, what about you and Marvel Girl? Y'all supposed to be the power couple."
Who the fuck is that? I was like, who the fuck is Marvel Girl?
Everybody has a code name. And Wolverine, Cyclops, Beast, Storm. They all got real names.
It's Jean.
Jean's name is Marvel Girl.
Never ever knew that. And I was just like, I knew it was Jean, but I was like, what the fuck is that? Is he talking about the other Jean?
Yeah, Jean's name is Marvel Girl. And so, yeah, so then he starts telling the love story, but which is interesting because they cutting back and forth between Jean telling the story, talking to Logan about this shit, and it's kind of showing that like they apart, like they not.
This shit is fucked up
because Cyclops don't really know where this shit is, and so Cyclops she start asking Trish, being she, pronouns, started asking, what's up with your baby? Like, where the baby at? And he's like, I ain't got no baby. And she's like, bitch, why you lying? Like, we got all the details right here. You even bullied this fucking doctor to take his fucking powers. And then Cyclops just loses that shit. Right? And I loved it because I should have
wanted to-
known when this was happening, but after what happens at the end of this episode, it's kind of what sends Cyclops down a different path in the comic books where he really
Okay.
becomes fucking cool to me.
all right. Because this
Because
team fuck Cyclops, right? Everybody's on board with like fuck that guy. Right?
no, Cyclops is
Oh,
cool
okay.
as shit.
Okay.
You just don't know because you know Cyclops from this shit where he's Boy Scout.
Cool. Okay.
Cyclops in the books becomes disillusioned with the professor's dream after Genosha, and he periodically moves more and more to Magneto, and then eventually more radical than Magneto because he gets with Emma Frost, and Emma Frost radical like they are the power couple because Scott loves him a telepath.
He really does.
And Cyclops, I mean, they're not doing this in the show, so but Cyclops essentially
Emma had Scott walking around without glasses for a while, right? Without his visor for a while, right?
No. Jean can do that.
Okay.
But eventually Cyclops kills Professor X. And he's the leader between Avengers versus X-Men because he has the Phoenix Force, it's the Phoenix 5. It's a whole lot, but Cyclops becomes cool as fucking shit at this point. So it looks like they're starting down that path. But Jean is out in the middle of the water somewhere, and Logan shows up, and she's looking at all her memories in like physical form because she don't know what's her memories and what's not. And Logan loves him some Jean, but Jean has always loved Logan, and so despite her love for Scott, she goes right in for one on Logan.
Tried to slip that man some tongue, but Wolverine was like, "Not today."
Did that surprise you, Mike? Did you see that coming?
It surprised me that Wolverine rejected her.
Why? This ain't the first time he didn't got played to his face, sir.
I know. I just feel like he would take any opportunity.
What are you trying to say about Logan?
Yeah.
What kind of person do you think he is?
Logan.
No, I don't mean like. I just mean he's been in love with her.
No, you trying to slip up. Logan be getting bitches from bitches.
Logan
and bitches
is over 100 years old. He tells you right now. He says, "I'm old as fuck. I know what the fuck's going on here. You get back to Slim."
Yeah, you're not doing this. You're not gonna make me cry you a river. Fuck.
By the way, I saw this on Twitter, which was cool as shit. But did you know that in the first 2 episodes, when they do the intro, they had Jean, and Jean had a ponytail on her suit, and like in the intro, in the suit, and then this time, Jean had her hair down because the first 2 times that shit wasn't Jean, that was Madelyne, and so now that it's Jean again, she got her hair down like Jean. So they were telling us that in the intro of the show, and you didn't realize that till this episode, which I thought was cool as shit.
These intros, man, it's crazy that you really need to watch the intro every week and shit. Because like on your Disney Plus shit, it says skip the intro. You really gotta watch the intro every fucking week.
I always watch the intro because I like the song.
Meanwhile, Rogue and Gambit, Magneto, they go to Genosha. And Genosha is moving into the UN. They're being recognized as the mutant country, mutant nation of their own. They have their own bylaws, their own rules, their own agency, their own sovereignty. And that's when we get to see all these different cameos: Leech, Dazzler, the Glob. Like we saw so many Nightcrawler. Kurt shows back up. By the way, Kurt and Rogue are basically stepbrothers and sister, essentially, because Mystique is Kurt's mama. Well, technically she's her mama and daddy in a way, but that could get complicated.
Yeah, don't
yeah. So they basically like siblings and shit. So they happy to see each other, and Rogue is like, "Oh shit, man, this is just like he told me." And Gambit's like, "Who? Xavier?" And she's like, "Oh yeah, Xavier told me that shit."
Yo, first of all, for the plane ride over, and Magneto man, shout out to Gambit this being day one, because I mean he been getting shitted on since getting shitted on. He finally get his come out party, but Magneto be like, as the only one that can't defy the law of gravity, sir, you should probably shut the fuck up. I like it.
Yep. And they basically are, they're preparing to get,
Genosha welcomes the X-Men.
yeah, everyone's happy to see him. But, you see Magneto is right signs and shit. Because they're doing a lot of allegories in real life. Yeah, Magneto was right. Welcome to the X-Men. You see mutants matter signs and shit. Because, they had a statue of Magneto and Xavier, which is basically like, yeah, some of us was with him, his vision, some of us with Xavier's vision, but ultimately, this is the best of both worlds, right? We get our own nation where humans won't fuck with us, but they are still accepting us as that nation, right? So it's kind of like the best of both worlds in that sense. Madelyne rolls up, so we see where Madelyne's been. She's been on Genosha, finding herself a home, and she's part of the Genosha Council, along with Nightcrawler, who's like the head of faith, because Nightcrawler love him some religion, love him some religion.
When you're a demon, Brandon, what you have to find out why you're a demon. You have to talk to the Lord or your higher powers about why you're this demon.
Calling him a demon.
That's what he calls himself. Calls himself a monster. I do that.
So then they go to the council room. We see everybody else who's on there. Emma Frost is there. Moira is there, which I am really.
Because Michael, right. Hold on. What's her son's name, Michael?
Oh, yeah. Her son is Proteus. Yeah. But I don't know if they're going to do that. But Moira is there with her boyfriend, Banshee. Sebastian Shaw is there. But here's the thing. So for most of comic history, Moira was just an ally Charles to the mutants. Yeah. Like she dated Charles and she dated Banshee, and she's like a scientist and shit, and she helps the mutants out. But in Jonathan Hickman's X-Men in the last 4 years of X-Men in the Krakoan era, they basically said that Moira is a mutant. And Moira, I don't know if they're going to do this in the show, but Moira's mutant power is she has multiple lives. So she can live her whole life and then she'll die, and then the timeline resets, and then when her mutant power comes back, she remembers everything from her previous life, and so that's why when they kicked off the new version of the X-Men that's ending, Fall of X is happening now. So this whole storyline has been around for like 5 years and it's finally ending. But when it kicked off, it was called House of X, which is basically like Krakoa, and they're building their own house, and then it was called Powers of 10, which is basically the 10 lives of Moira. Because the idea is that they think she has 10 lives. And so Charles and Magneto were using her for a while to go through life, because the end of every life, mutants lose. They end up dying or losing or getting wiped out. And so they're trying to figure out what can we do to prevent mutants from losing. And so they're using her as that. But then a whole bunch of fuck shit happens, and now everyone hates fucking Moira. But I'm not going to get into all that. But it made me think about that, because Emma says, why do we have this human here? Right. And I'm like, they're making it. I mean, obviously that's probably something they would say, but I don't know if they're trying to hit to something about Moira. I don't know. So I thought that was interesting. But yeah, so Moira shows up and they're all in there, and they want Magneto to be the counselor of Genosha. And Magneto was like, yeah, I can do that as long as you bring my queen. Like, you better bring my queen. Who that? Who's your queen, Magneto?
The only way it looks legit if we have X-Men on here, because I'm too radical. That was his thought process. But he knew it in the back of his mind once they asked her, hey, I got another shot at my girl. I didn't cure my demons. I'm a better man, baby. I'm trying to lead this country of Genosha, but I can only do it with you, because behind every great man is a greater woman. That's what he's trying to tell you. Woo! That boy was spitting game.
Yeah, he was spitting game, all right. And so then they cut to Jean and Scott. They reminiscing about Nathan, only to find out that that's Madelyne's doing the psychic.
Fuck that man. Fuck Scott. Fuck him, yo.
I said Scott was a deadbeat, and nobody tried to listen to me. I tried to tell y'all.
But fuck that guy. So, I mean, you might like the motherfucker later, but fuck him. Fuck everything about. Because, again, how you going to be like, oh, I love you so much, and still cheating with the bitch that you put a baby in? This is some Dwayne Wade shit. This is crazy. I don't know. I don't really appreciate it.
And Jean is sick. Jean is like, I thought that was our shit. And to be fair to Scott, he was basically like, I thought it was our shit too. Yeah. I didn't know that wasn't you. What you mean? I thought that was our shit too.
Yeah.
And Jean was like, "But do you love her though?" And Scott was like, "I mean,
it's you, bitch.
I did put a baby in her. Like,
This bitch is you. I thought it was you.
she
So
did
how am
birth
I
my
wrong?
baby."
How am I
And,
wrong?
and Jean was like, "Yeah, fuck that."
Sinister cut off a piece of me.
And then Scott tried to come back at her like, "How am I supposed to know? Like, that's not even you and shit, and you out here fucking her up too." And then Jean is shot in the head with like some type of psyche blast, which I'm gonna get to in a little bit. What the fuck?
Thank
what
you.
I think is happening here.
Because I clearly said what the fuck in my career. I was like, what the fuck?
Rogue then goes to see Gambit and shit, and he's getting all suited and booted for the gala.
Hey, shout out to Rogue to being a real one and just telling the nigga how it really is, man. Just telling the man how it really is. So what's gonna have to happen is you my side, dude.
No, she tells her the whole story about Magneto. But you know what's funny?
I told you they was fucking. I told
you.
Yeah,
but
Magneto.
You're right. You were right. But if you watch that, it had mad Beauty and the Beast imagery. Like they were in that library and shit. Magneto's like this big bad villain at the time, and it was a lot of that shit.
Yo, fuck you. That's good though. That's really no for real though. That's really good because now I gotta re-see it in my head. It's really true. Gave that bitch some culture. That bitch learned about life and shit.
And Gambit was like, "But do you love me though?" And Rogue was like, "I love you, but you can't touch me, my nigga. Like I need to be touched. Yeah. I need some touching. I need some feeling. And you just can't give me what I need." Because they are a tragic couple, right? So like in the books, like this shit goes on, and it's so tragic because they can never touch. Like, can you imagine being like madly in love with someone, like your soulmate, but you cannot touch them ever?
I just feel like a condom.
That's so tragic.
I just feel like a condom should be able to do something. Like you
act like. What you mean a condom? You can't touch no part of Rogue. What are you talking about?
I'm just saying, with gloves on, you can't even do it with gloves. A barrier.
I mean, you can touch her with gloves. Yes, she wears gloves. If she's covered. So then they go. So then they
trying to raw dog it, been all right. I was trying to raw dog it all day.
And they go to this gala, and Dr. Cooper's there again with some fuck shit's going there. A lot of people think that's Mystique, by the way. I don't think it's Mystique.
I don't think it's Mystique in this one.
But a lot of people think that's Mystique. And she's like, "Why the fuck are you picking Magneto as this leader?" And Magneto came with the bars. She's like, "Why are you picking a terrorist to lead your nation?" And Magneto said, "Oh, you got a problem with electing a terrorist a leader, but you don't got no problem with leaders committing terrorism." Now, and she was like, touche. She had shit to say.
Yeah.
And so Rogue shows up to the gala looking fine as fuck, and Gambit salty. And this time, Rogue,
if a bitch come floating in and she demand everybody attention, why wouldn't I be salty? I can't fly, motherfucker.
Yeah, but Rogue,
I know a motherfucker that can.
Rogue always is wearing a bodysuit, like full body covered. She came in with her shoulders out, her arms out, a shorter dress. She was like, "I don't give a fuck, because I'm about to show y'all this nigga can touch me." And she flies up, and this is like a whole like power play shit with like these two powerful mutants. And
also
then,
Beauty and the Beast, the dance.
Yes, they did a dance. Then they kiss, and everybody's like, "Yo, what the fuck?" Because it makes Magneto like the most powerful motherfucker in the world. Like, you could touch Rogue, and you good. And so they kiss and shit. But Rogue basically tells her that
it was fun. Thanks for the dance.
He was like, "Yeah, this was cool, but I still fuck with Gambit. Like, that's my dude. I'm sorry." And right when that shit happens, they cut to Madelyne sitting at the bar, and she gets a psychic blast. And then Cable shows up, but he's body sliding. That's what they call it when his time travels. And so he don't have that much time. And he's like, "She's coming." Like, I think that's what she was saying. It's like, "She's coming. Someone's coming.
Cut the music. Cut the music."
And then they evacuate, and she's just like, he's like, "Get everyone the fuck out of here. Like, something bad is happening." And then he was like, "I'm sorry, Mom." And then slides out of that fucking timeline. And then suddenly this big ass fucking wild Sentinel show up. That's what they call them. This version of the Sentinels. Wild Sentinels show up. and Rogue and Gambit and Magneto, they try to fight it off and shit, and it's not really happening. Motherfuckers are getting killed left and right. The Morlocks, by the way, Genosha still got income inequality because the Morlocks ain't got no house. They still living in the fucking. They still got them in the middle of the fucking harm.
They still down there.
And shit. They don't let them niggas get houses ever. Y'all are forbidden to have a house.
Yo, but my man Leach got friends, so he got on the surface during the day with his friends and shit, playing around. Hey, that little Pexy Fairy bitch. I don't know what the fuck. She can't control her powers.
That's her name.
Oh, that bitch keep running this shit. I don't know what the fuck's wrong with her, but bitch, get it together. They need to school. Them bitches need to go to school.
They make Morlock. Magneto's like, go save the Morlocks. Just save as much people as you can. And so they start fighting the Sentinels and shit, and they're doing okay. But this Sentinel is fucking some shit up. And Gambit, he's like, I'm gonna save the day. And he runs up on the Sentinel, and that Sentinel sticks this thing in him. So he's about to die. But all the little kinetic energy in Gambit comes out and blows that fucking Sentinel up. And Gambit dies. Well, he appears to be dead. And this shit was sad, man. Because like shit was like mutants was dying. Statues were falling on people. That blast blew up a ton of people.
It was 9/11 for mutants because again,
yes,
they literally had to like boom. What we about to show you is graphic. You motherfucking humans don't care, but you mutants out there, this is for y'all. It's fucked up.
Yes, that's what happened. And then Magneto's like trying to protect Leech. But here's the thing, Leech was touching him, so he was losing his power while he was doing that. So he was basically using everything he had left to protect Leech. And then like he gets under rubble, but we don't see his body, so he might still be alive.
He alive. He gotta be. Smack.
And then back in the mansion, the team's watching this shit on the news, and they're like, "Yo, what the fuck?" And then they cut the Rogue, and this shit was so sad, man. She's fucking crying, and she finally can touch Gambit. He's fucking
dead. Yeah.
And she says, "I can't feel you," and I was like, "Yo, this shit." This is some good fucking right. This shit is some good ass fucking right. This is the best X-Men, man. Now I hope people who've been listening. I know people streaming now may not have been listening for all these years, but I've been ranting about the fucking X-Men movies for years.
They ain't never had no bars like this. No.
This is what the fuck you can do in a movie, like this type of shit. And they did this shit in 30 minutes. They did Genosha in 30 minutes. And Mike, did this feel rushed? Because this didn't feel rushed to me.
No. Definitely not.
Mike's a man of little words today.
It's all right. I got something for later.
Oh, okay.
Oh.
I found Bo DeMayo's insight on episode 5, which he broke his silence just to say. Did you see this?
No.
Doesn't it say something about spoilers?
No, there's no spoilers at all.
Okay. What did he say?
Well, it's kind of a lot to read, but he said, I'll skip some of the parts, but he basically said, lots of questions. I'll momentarily break silence to answer. Episode 5 is the centerpiece of my pitch to Marvel in November 2020. It was the centerpiece of my pitch to Marvel in November 2020. The idea being to have the X-Men mirror the journey that any of us who grew up on the original show have experienced since being kids in the 90s. The world was seemingly a safer place for us, where a character like Storm would comment on how skin-based racism was quaint and one man's worth. For the most part, to our young minds, the world was a simple place of right and wrong, where the questions about identity and social justice had relatively clear-cut answers. And then 9/11 happened, and the world turned against itself. Things weren't so safe anymore. Okay, so he goes on and talks about that. And then he says for him personally, 9/11 was also when he came out of the closet, and he realized not everybody would accept him. So there's another paragraph about that. And then he says, if you were like me, you would actually watch the old episodes of the OG cartoon to comfort myself and take yourself back. He said, God knows I did during COVID, but just like Roberto warned Jubilee, there's a danger of living in the past and clinging to nostalgia. There's a danger of not letting go of who we think we are. As Cyclops and Jean are learning, it leaves us stagnant. Okay, he talks about that a little bit. He says it looks like Gambit's story was supposed to go in a specific direction. The crop top was chosen to make you love him. Him pulling off his shirt was intentional. There's a reason he told Rogue any fool would suffer her hand in a dance, even if it ended up not being him suffering. But if events like 9/11, Tulsa, Charlottesville, or Pulse nightclub teach us anything, it's that too many stories are often cut far too short. Then he talks about how he partied at Pulse. and he said he thought Pulse was sort of like Genosha in the sense that it was a safe space for him and everyone like him to dance and laugh and be free. And he said he thought about that a lot when crafting this season and this episode, and how the gay community in Orlando rose to heal from that event. And then the final paragraph is just saying, like many of us who grew up on the OG cartoon, the X-Men have now been hit hard by the realities of an adult and unsafe world. Life's happened to them, and they, like we did, will have to decide which parts of themselves they'll cling to and which parts they'll let go of in order to do what they've been telling humanity to do, face an uncertain future they never saw coming. And
come through, Michael. That was boy, you did that.
This is going to be a turning point as to how people react. And in the so I'm gonna do a little. I mean, this doesn't really spoil what's to come because I don't know what they're gonna do in the show. But there's a woman named Cassandra Nova who is the orchestrator of this shit in the comic book, and she is a fucking menace. She is a whole ass problem, and you don't want no parts of her really. And so in the books, she helped do this with Boulevard Trask's nephew. But basically, she found some sentinels and shit that was really beast, but she couldn't control them because they were only designed to listen to a Trask. And so she basically got Boulevard's nephew to like use his DNA and stuff, and then she killed that nigga. But to take over and shit. But I kind of want to show y'all this because this right here is some of the panels from that book, just to give you an idea who this person is. So this is Cassandra talking to Trask, and he's like, "Is it evil, Miss Nova? What I've just done? Some people would call this evil, wouldn't they?" And she says, "Where the doctors, hold on, I can't see it."
Were the doctors who wiped out the entire smallpox species evil?
Yeah, evil. Were the doctors who wiped out the entire smallpox species evil? In a world without values or morality, good and evil are just choices on the menu of the mighty. That is Grant Morrison. I mean, he's one of the best writers of all time. He's also a crazy person, but he's also great. So he was writing this shit. And so then this is the real shit right here. So then, you'll see this shit right here where he really, like, this is like when you really see what she's fucking with, like what she's thinking about with this shit. She says,
"Oh, it's the bald-headed bitch." Okay, I remember.
"It's a special feeling, isn't it? Behind the mask of liberal respectability with his safe opinions, we all hate the mutations, don't we? How can it be murder when they're germs or vermin?" That's what she thinks the mutant X gene is. She's like, "What are you talking about? If we got rid of the measles, would you call it murder because you're killing? Those are living beings. The bacteria is living. Is that genocide? What are you talking about? These are chicken pox. It's smallpox. This is the plague. And we need to find a vaccine to get rid of these motherfuckers. And so this is what we're going to do." This is the person we're talking about here, just so you know. So
Yeah, bald-headed bitch.
she ends up sending those big ass sentinels that you saw on the show to Genosha. She's like, "This is what I'm gonna do. Watch this shit," and sends that shit to Genosha. And in the books, I don't know what they're gonna say in the show. It'll be interested to see what they say in the show. But in the books, they kill 16 million mutants.
God damn it!
16 million mutants. Yes, die in Genosha. So
God.
she is a whole fucking problem. A whole ass problem. And I'm pretty confident. I mean, they could change it, right? They could make Sinister behind this. I don't know why Sinister would be motivated to do this, so I don't think that's what's going to happen. But, you know, they could change it for the show and make someone else behind it. But what I think is really going to happen going forward is this is going to basically make everybody take a side, right?
Mm-hmm.
They just, humanity, for all they know, right? Because all they know is that humans are behind the Sentinels. So they don't know who did this shit. So at this point, they're just like, humans found out that we was about to join the UN, and this is the shit they did. They killed millions of mutants. So what y'all finna do? You gonna still listen? You still gonna do that Xavier bullshit and want to kumbaya with the fucking humans, or are we gonna take our rightful place as Homo superior, and who gonna be with us? And I think this is gonna lead Cyclops down that path. At least that's what I'm hoping to see, because I want to see Cyclops turn into that dude that I read in the comics for all those years. That was actually very interesting and cool as shit, and not the Boy Scout that he was portrayed as on X-Men the animated series. That's what I want to see. Devin, what do you think's happening after this?
We got to finish the Storm story. So that's where, I mean, just logically, that's what I'm thinking. Like, as far as we had 10 episodes this season, it's 10, right?
It's 10. Yes.
So we still got 2 parts of that left. And I'm literally just so excited about just being on this journey. Like, I was so happy about the storytelling and just Gambit getting to stop being, you know, he went to the haters ball, he won the award, and then he got his victory speech. You know what I mean? Yeah, he died, but I mean, he died. But you know, he was the best hater at the ball. You know, he played the game, and he still got your bitch at the end of the day. You know what I mean? So I'm glad Gambit got his flowers. The character development is great on this show. So I'm just to know that all this shit is happening. They threw Cable in there just to be like, fuck, this shit is so much bigger than you think it is. Like, you know what I mean? Like, and this massive event, there's one person that makes this shit crazy. And then for what's her name, Pryor, to look at him and be like, that's my baby. That's my baby. Like, and be excited about it. And then if you know anything about the comic books, you know how awesome Cable is. You know what Cable brings to this story. And then what Cable and Bishop was to X-Men, the OG version of this. So, like, I mean, I'm just literally just excited and just here for the ride, honestly.
Mike, what about you?
So, Cassandra Nova is Charles Xavier's twin, right?
Mike, why are you spoiling shit? I didn't say that on purpose.
Oh, well, I was gonna say if that means maybe he'll come back.
Yeah.
Why would you say that though? I mean, I didn't know that shit, but I mean, great.
And we're not even recording. We live, so everybody watching that might have just been, God damn.
I mean, I didn't think that was a big spoiler.
I left it out. You think I didn't know that? I just talked about Cassandra Nova and didn't know that.
I mean, I would have thought
I
Cassandra
read the
Nova
fucking
in
book.
general
I know that
would have been a spoiler.
Like, people are watching the TV show.
She looks just like him.
I mean, she's a bald-headed bitch. I remember the bald-headed bitch. I remember that shit. But I'm just saying, like,
there's a lot of people bald-headed.
Right.
What does that mean?
What does that mean?
Boye's bald-headed. Does she look like a Xavier?
I mean, kinda.
No, she doesn't. All right, couple things.
That bitch from the Shi'ar. That bitch from the Shi'ar looks like Charles, though.
Did y'all finish watching Invincible?
I'm not caught up.
I didn't caught up. There was two. I didn't catch the episode this week. I didn't catch it. Or last week.
So you didn't watch the finale,
Thursday, right?
Yeah, I'm one behind.
Was the finale.
Oh, it was?
Yes.
Damn, they only did 3 episodes, and then it's a finale. Oh,
4 episodes. Yeah, there was only 8 episodes. It was stupid to break it up. Me and Old Man Wade did a podcast on it this weekend. So
I love Old Man Wade. Shout out to Old Man
anybody
Wade.
listening, go check that out. It's on the feed. Other thing, Mike, did you see the Joker 2 trailer?
I didn't even know it was released. I'm looking it up right now. Wow.
You didn't see it?
I didn't know. I didn't even see an announcement for this. It was revealed yesterday.
Yeah, the Joker 2 trailer yesterday. Long-time listeners know that I thought that Joker film was an excellent movie. Like, from cinematography, the acting. Yeah. Like, the acting was just top notch. But I thought it was a awful comic book film. Not because I don't think comic book films can be other things, but because I hate when studios use recognizable IP to do a different project and then do their project under that IP. So like that,
I
I
agree.
mean, that wasn't the fucking Joker, which is fine. I thought if that movie was just called Arthur Fleck or the comedian, right? Because that's essentially what it was based off
What
of,
it
the
was,
comedian.
right.
That's a great. I mean, it's a great fucking film. But you use the Joker film, use the Joker IP to bring in comic book fans and people like comic books, so you can tell your story, and then you just
For
throw
those
some.
that don't understand what IP is, international.
Who doesn't know what IP
intellectual,
is?
Because again,
What do you think? People are stupid. Intellectual
I'm not going.
property.
Hey, intellectual property.
So they use the Joker IP so they can bring in comic book fans, and they throw in a little bit of here's Wayne Manor, here's a little boy in Wayne Manor, you know who that is, so they can just like say, okay, we threw in our fucking Gotham City world to you, and now I'm gonna go back and tell you my story. It's the same thing Fox did with Logan, right? Everybody loves Logan. They think Logan's the greatest shit since sliced bread. Logan is a Clint Eastwood movie with claws.
Yeah, that's literally what I thought it was.
They put Clint Eastwood. They gave him some claws. They ignored all their own continuity because he wanted to tell his own story, and it was a great fucking story. It was great acting.
Movie.
It's a great movie.
Yeah.
So this film is clearly, if you watch this trailer, we can't show it because we're streaming live and we'll get blocked. Usually we do trailers, but this film, I'm gonna figure out how to do the mirror thing so that we don't get blocked at some point. But this film is clearly and obviously going for an Oscar. Like, and I'm not saying that's a bad thing because the trailer looks.
You're right.
It makes the movie look like this is going to be some highbrow, high art shit. Like it's going to be some real
Mike,
high art shit.
You saw it. Mike just watched it. Mike,
I just watched it. I agree. But I don't. They're doing the same thing that you just said. They're just telling.
Yeah, I mean, they've already done that. But so we're already past that. So they got Lady Gaga's Harley Quinn, who looks fantastic as Harley Quinn, and they're going to tell this story.
She's Dr. Harley Quinn, correct? Dr.
Well, we don't know. They just know she's cast as Harley Quinn.
Okay.
Well, I mean, it looks like by the trailer she's just another patient.
Well, you don't know. It's a trailer. They're hiding shit. But this film,
they didn't drop the synopsis yet.
This film is going to be an excellent piece of art.
Cinematography, yes.
It's going to be great. And I think that Todd Phillips is not. I think he's going to lean back out of some of that. Like the first scene of the trailer is like Joker, Arthur Fleck in a cell. And I was like, are they trying to say he's like an incel? Because like that's what he was in the first movie. He was a fucking incel. And incels was loving that shit. And I'm hoping Todd Phillips was like, okay, I'm like, you can tell a story about an incel. I just don't want you to make the incel feel like he's someone that I should feel sorry for. I don't feel sorry for incels. In that first Joker movie, they made his laugh a disease, and like they tried to make you feel bad for him in a way that I thought was a little dangerous because I was like, he's a fucking incel. He's a chud. He's not someone that you should be like feeling bad for. So it's gonna be interesting to see how they do this film, and what I really hope they don't do is I hope they don't change the abuse aspect of Harley and Joker. Right? I don't want it to be a love story. Harley Quinn and the Joker are not a love story.
Not a love story, no.
It's a toxic relationship by an abuser who's manipulating this woman because he although he has some mental issues, he understands what hers are, and he is using that against her to manipulate her. Like that's a toxic relationship. That's why the cartoon show is so great, because Harley's like, I have to get out of this toxic ass shit, and she realizes that it's toxic. I don't want you to present these, like I always see people on Valentine's Day post the Joker Harley. I'm like, what do y'all think this relationship is? Do you think this is like relationship goals? Like you want to be like Harley Quinn and Joker?
Clyde. It's Bonnie
like that
and
shit
Clyde.
is no, it's not even Bonnie and Clyde. That shit is fucking toxic as fuck.
Brandon, people you gotta realize reality, perception is reality, right? People perceive like Harley to be Joker's ride or die, right? And that's what people receive and they go with it. They're not doing all the research that you've seen. They're not doing all that.
Research. If you watch that shit,
Brandon,
he's fucking. What are you talking about?
Brandon,
What you mean research?
They don't see all the shit. Did you say? They ain't reading the comic books. They don't.
I don't think you need to read the comic books.
He was toxic. She left him in the animated series. Like, well, she didn't leave him in the animated series, but she was. Batman's talking to her like, dog. He's fucking with you. Like, at no point did they. Like, at no point in any medium. Really, in any medium by any.
No, the animated series, Batman animated series. She was right back.
No, what does she ride or die have to do with him being toxic?
Yeah,
that shit don't have nothing to do with it.
You're right.
She's being manipulated into that shit.
I apologize. You're right. I apologize.
So I'm interested to see if how they play their relationship. I'm gonna watch the movie because it looks like. I mean, I'm a person who loves movies, just like the art of making movies. So it looks like it's gonna be just some fantastic acting. But I'm really interested to see how they do that Joker Harley relationship.
Hey, did Joaquin Phoenix get an Oscar for the first one?
Joaquin Phoenix?
Yeah.
Yes, he did win an Oscar. He was nominated, and they were nominated for Best Picture. They didn't win.
Okay. But I think he got Best Actor that year, right?
Yeah. So Scar just jumped in. My man Scar just jumped in and said he was toxic in Suicide Squad. Yes, he was crazy toxic, and they made it like that. They did that shit on purpose to say that like this dude is fucked up, and Harley and everyone's telling Harley like, dog, get the fuck away from him. Like she keeps coming back because he's manipulating him.
We're rolling.
But eventually she gets out of there, right? So like, he was toxic as shit in that shit. So like, I don't know what form of medium that the Joker wasn't toxic to Harley.
Oh yeah, he's toxic everything.
And I watch people and they're like, gold, relationship goals mean. So yeah, that was. Oh, and there was one last thing. This is kind of what we do on our normal show, which we'll get back to after X-Men '97 is over. But I did want to give Mike a little bit of time to what was that show called, Mike?
What, the segment we used to do?
No, the show that you sent me that you want us to review.
Oh, well, we're gonna do Rise of the Empire and Acolyte.
Yeah, we already talked about Acolyte.
Rise of the Empire, if it's anything like the first season, it'll just be 6 10-minute episodes. So it's really easy to watch. Short stories.
Are you excited for the new Star Wars show?
Yes. It's supposed to be a second season to Tales of the Jedi, which, did you ever watch it?
No, I did not watch it.
Tales of the Jedi. So
where do I see that? How do I see
it's on Disney Plus. It's 6 episodes, and they're very short. They're like 10 minutes. And there's 3 about Ahsoka and 3 about Jedi Count Dooku. And it's like, you can see like Ahsoka as a baby getting taken, like at her village, like her family discovering she's a Force-sensitive person. You could see Count Dooku training with young Qui-Gon Jinn, and then there's a bunch of time jumps between each episode. They would take turns. Like the first would be Ahsoka, and then it would be Count Dooku, and then they would go back and forth. And then you could see up to the point where Dooku, in those 10-minute episodes, they cover like a ton of very important details. And so this time, that was called Tales of the Jedi. So it was Ahsoka and Jedi Dooku. This is Tales of the Empire. And
so is this an anthology show?
Yeah, basically. But and it looks like the 2 characters they're choosing to focus on for these shorts are Barriss, who, I don't know did you watch the Clone Wars, Devin?
Yes.
Do you remember? She bombed the temple and framed Ahsoka and was arrested.
Yeah, I remember. Yeah.
So it's her, basically, in the trailer you could see that they rope her into the Inquisitors, and she's training with the Grand Inquisitor, and then at the end, Darth Vader, like all the Inquisitors are kneeling, and then the big metal boots come in, and the breathing starts. Darth Vader shows up, and the second person is the woman from The Mandalorian and Ahsoka, the Night Sister.
Okay, cool.
The Magist that was with Thrawn.
Yeah.
And then Thrawn's in the trailer, and he's like, why do you want to work for the Empire? And she gives him a reason. So, I mean, it's going to be really easy to watch and really easy to record. They usually release all episodes in one day. So we'll probably just do one episode for the whole thing.
When's it coming out, Michael?
I believe May the 4th, because that's coming up. Let me double check.
Really? May the 4th?
Have you never heard of that? That's a huge day.
No,
Yes,
That's my
Mike.
Yeah.
Yes,
Mike,
I heard
you
of
definitely heard it.
That's why I was laughing.
First of all, don't do that. Don't tease me with this title down here. Are you caught up on that shit? Do you watch that?
I didn't know you were watching it, Devin. If you were watching it, I've been looking for somebody to do a review of this shit with
I want to watch it.
You all caught up, Devin?
I am not caught up. I did not watch this week's episode.
Oh, so you didn't see episode 8 was fucking fire. Okay. We're not gonna spoil anything on this. Maybe me and Devin will do a review after it's over.
I would love
Wait,
to,
I'll watch it. I was gonna watch that show too.
But this fucking show
is amazing. It's amazing. They don't miss anything as far as the culture. The time. I love time period pieces. This is my favorite. The feudal era of Japan is literally the best cinematography you can do, because the pageantry and the traditions that Japanese culture has is bar none the best. They do a whole bunch of shit you wouldn't understand if you're not from there, and you're like, what the fuck? And then they're so cunning, and they're playing chess. This is not a checker.
Oh, Toranaga is definitely playing 3D chess.
Yeah, like it is fucking crazy.
He playing 3D chess. If you watch this episode, this man, I'm trying to listen. I'm not gonna spoil anything. We'll do a spoiler review after the show's over. Because this is only supposed to be one season, by the way. So the showrunner's like, we're telling this whole story in a season. That's all we need. It's gonna be a one season show.
Brandon, if you want to watch anything good on Netflix, I'll send it to you, because I can't even think. But it's literally like how the power control of Japan, like this whole thing, how it played out, and they reenact it, and that shit is great. It's only one season of it. It's
I'm gonna watch
great. I can't
listen. I love how this show is always making it's in subtitles, so they're not trying to appease. Well, they do it a little bit, because the people speaking in American are actually speaking Portuguese in the show.
Yeah.
I don't know if you knew that, Devin, but
yes, I did.
they're supposed to be speaking Portuguese when I said American. When they're speaking English, they're supposed to be speaking Portuguese. But they were just like, yeah, I mean, we already doing Japanese.
We can't do
Portuguese.
That,
That's just gonna be a lot. So basically, they're speaking Portuguese when they're speaking English. But all the Japanese people don't give a fuck. They're speaking speaking Japanese. They give us subtitles. They're like, you are smart enough to watch this show and read fucking subtitles. It's okay. I love
if you want to see a great show, if you want to see a great show, let us present it the way it's supposed to be presented, and that's really what you're getting.
I love how the majority of the people of the main cast are Japanese people, and I love how the one white dude who's in the main cast, they call that motherfucker a barbarian. Every time I read that shit, I almost laugh. Well, Anjan means pilot, so that's not even disrespectful.
Oh, that's not even bad. Yeah, that's not even bad.
Barbarian is clear. They call that man a barbarian.
They called him a barbarian a couple times,
They call him a barbarian. Everyone calls him a barbarian. What are you talking about? They call him a barbarian.
No, he is Hatamoto. Until he becomes Hatamoto.
No, Scar. No, we're not a podcast of this. Devin is going to rip you to shreds. This is what Scar just said, Devin.
Oh no! Get the fuck out of here, bro.
Dubs over subs.
I can watch everything when it comes out, the day it comes out, and you want to talk about dub? Like, you fucking weeks and weeks behind some shit, and you talk about dubs over subs. Get the fuck out. First of all, we all know dubs over subs with Squid Game is some bullshit. That ain't what them people was fucking saying. Scar, you're better than that. Don't do that to yourself.
Oh yeah, Squid Game season 2 is coming back. We'll talk about that too.
That shit is crazy.
But not
you're a good guy, Scar. You're a good guy. Appreciate it.
But no, Shogun, man, this is a good ass fucking show.
It's the best. It's the best. It's the best storytelling in a cable that cable can do. First of all, do you be seeing titties on your show?
I mean, it's on FX. They show titties on FX.
Okay, because I didn't even know that was a thing. I was like, what are they on titties for?
Yes.
I wasn't ready for that. I was like, oh, titties. Okay, cool. But again, that culture is a great. The storytelling.
Mike, you should watch it. It's a great fucking show.
I want to watch it. If you're gonna record it,
want to watch it. Do it, Mike.
I think I just need to get back into Hulu, and I was gonna, because that's where it is, right?
Yeah, it's on Hulu. It's on episode.
Yeah,
episode 8 came out on Monday, so it's 2 episodes left. But man, the way they
So what,
build
I
this
got 3
shit,
weeks to watch the whole
like
thing.
they're building this shit to a crescendo. It is prestige TV, right? So like,
yes, absolutely. The best word to say, prestige.
I'm big on prestige TV. I know that's like a loaded term sometimes, and a lot of things get thrown into that aren't that, and some things get excluded from that should be that because of who's starring in it. This is absolutely prestige TV. And
The
anyone,
cinematography in this shit is really beautiful as well. Like what they're doing in 45 minutes is HBO level shit. They're doing HBO level shit on a cable budget. Like,
yes, they are. So we are at an hour. So
let's get the fuck out of here
then. What? Like, why are you like this?
I'm just saying, if you fucking trying to nudge me somewhere, let's get the fuck out of here. Wrap it up.
No, I mean it's an excellent review. I just wanted to get in some extra topics because we haven't done our normal show in a while, and those are things that were important. So yeah, we'll follow up on that. So we'll be back next week for X-Men 97 episode 6. That's Life Death Part 2. So we're gonna get the conclusion to Storm's story and how she gets her powers back. And like I said earlier, especially with how Cyclops is acting today, I think we're gonna get Storm leader of the X-Men with her powers back, and she's gonna be a whole fucking problem to deal with. But yeah, we'll be back next week on the podcast and on streaming on Twitter and Facebook and YouTube. Episode 6. Go, even if you're watching on Twitter or on Facebook, if you can, go to YouTube and just give us a subscribe or like the video. It helps us hit the algorithm as a new streamer. But yeah, we'll be back next week for episode 6. Thank you all for listening, and we'll talk to y'all later. Peace.
X gonna give